Good morning, Leanne here at Leanne Masry on YouTube. Welcome to another beautiful Florida morning. It's not quite as cool today, so I don't have my jacket on and took off my headband and little mittens, but it's still very, very nice today. I'm glad to be out early. Must be about 8 o'clock in the morning, 7:30 maybe. I don't use the alarm clock anymore, which has been a wonderful change this past year. I just get up when I've had enough sleep, and I go to bed when I'm tired. And that is the natural rhythm of our bodies that I think many of us have completely lost touch with. We do so many things in our lives according to routines that others have set for us, whether it starts out when we're young and we're going to school. And you got to catch that bus, you got to brush your teeth on time, and you have to do a lot of things to fit in society. And then you have to take your tests and get your grades before you can move ahead and advance in society or school. That's pretty much how it goes for most of us. And that's, excuse me, fairly normal in most cultures. We have to all get along. We can't send a single school bus for every kid that decides they're ready now. We can't start the class over for every kid that kind of wanders in. And it's the same way in our jobs. When we work for other people, we all agree to get there at a certain time, and we all agree to go home at a certain time, so that while we're there together, we can perform work cooperatively. And that's a very interesting concept, and it works very well. And that's how commerce is founded. On the other hand, if you work for yourself, you can set your own hours. You can decide where and when you want to work, how hard you want to work, and you get to decide for yourself if you're doing enough work or too much work, or if your work is effective or not. And that's a very different paradigm, a very different mentality. And most of the population does not have much desire or need or a familiarity with that mentality. And it takes a little bit to get used to it, but by the same token, it offers so many wonderful rewards. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about today, was the freedom of being your own boss and the risks of being an entrepreneur. So, first of all, we have to decide what it is that we need and want in our lives, and then set about going to get that. And then how we go about getting that is kind of up for grabs. It's our life. So, just because your parents wanted you to be a doctor doesn't mean you have to be a doctor. Just because they told you that, you couldn't do something doesn't mean that you can't. Just because you don't have any confidence in yourself, maybe, doesn't mean that you can't get any. I think that that's part of the basis of becoming an entrepreneur, is first of all believing that you can do it, and then trying to give yourself every advantage for success. For example, some of the younger entrepreneurs that have made it big or done really well have done so because they didn't have families to support or big mortgages to pay. They could afford to live at home in a room in their parents' house while they worked on their business or their idea or whatever in the garage. And others are maybe wanting to be musicians or artists or something, and they don't need as much to survive and thrive. Maybe they chose that career because they love what they do, and it doesn't really matter to them how much money they make. Those are choices that people make early on in life. Now, when I was younger, I believed that in order to do the things that I loved, that I would have to give up having any money. And they were mutually exclusive. Like, you can't be an artist and make money, or you can't be a musician and make money unless you're super, super famous, and the odds of that are really, really slim. So do you want to bank your whole future on these slim odds, So that idea didn't appeal to me when I was younger, and I went into a career that I thought would give me a better chance of making money, because that was important to me. But I now realize that you can have both things. If you limit yourself and you say, oh, I can't do that, I have to pick a different career, I can't like my job and make money, well, then that's exactly the future that you're going to create for yourself. That's a limiting belief, and it will shape every decision you make from that point forward. So believing that you can do something is part of the discipline, the challenge. I'm not sure how you call it, but a lot of times you need to believe in yourself before you actually get to your success point. Now, for those of us who waited to become an entrepreneur until later in life, sometimes that makes sense too. Maybe our kids are grown. We have now the time for ourselves to maybe indulge in something that we want to do, have wanted to do all our lives but never did. It's our time now. Maybe we have some money put aside that we can afford to take a new risk, do something that we didn't previously think we could do, and explore those limiting beliefs. Or maybe we just are sick and tired of the status quo and don't want to live like that anymore, and we're going to do whatever it takes to change our lives. There's a lot of reasons why people become entrepreneurs, but there's a lot of reasons why people quit too. They fail to stick to it. They get discouraged at an early age or stage.